chosen one. Heaven paused when you did. The moment you stopped running, the moment your heart leaned into the quiet whisper that said, "Now." All of heaven grew still. Every angel that had walked beside you through storms, confusion, and doubt waited to see what you would do next. The very courts of heaven were silent, for something sacred was unfolding on earth. You were about to step into obedience, and creation itself held its breath. You did not know that your hesitation had been echoing through eternity. Every delay, every maybe later, was felt in the invisible realms. Yet mercy kept reaching for you. Grace kept circling your name, refusing to let go. You thought it was coincidence when certain words pierced your soul, when certain doors closed suddenly, when peace withdrew its hand from what you thought was meant for you. But this was divine intervention. Heaven was orchestrating a pause so you could finally choose His will. You were never meant to blend in. You were never meant to follow the rhythm of the world. From the beginning, God set you apart. You were marked, destined, anointed not for comfort, but for calling. Every hardship you've endured has been heaven's training ground. The sleepless nights, they built endurance. The heartbreaks, they shaped humility. The seasons of silence, they tuned your spirit to hear the slightest whisper from God. Listen carefully. Now, this is that moment heaven was waiting for. The very air around you shifts when you begin to align your will with His. What felt like resistance suddenly becomes release. You are stepping into divine flow. And even though you can't see it yet, angels are preparing to rejoice. Heaven has a sound, a roar of celebration that only ignites when a chosen one obeys. Don't underestimate this step, for obedience is not small. It is the gate that unlocks realms you've never walked in before. When you obey, it is not just your life that changes, it is the alignment of heaven and earth through your yes. You become a vessel, a bridge, a divine connection point between the invisible and the visible. When you walk in His will, all creation responds to your footsteps. There is a holy authority rising in you, one that does not need to shout to be heard. You will speak, and storms will quiet. You will move, and the atmosphere will shift, because now you are no longer moving in your own will. You are carried by His. The very heavens rejoice, not because you were perfect, but because you finally yielded. Heaven's joy is not triggered by your strength, but by your surrender. As the ancient writings remind us in the Psalms, chapter 46, verse 10, "Be still, and know that I am God." That stillness is not passive, it is powerful. It is the silence of alignment, the calm before heaven's roar. Beloved, you are standing on sacred ground. You've crossed the invisible line between resistance and obedience, and now the celebration begins, not just in heaven, but in your life. Doors will open that no man can shut. Peace will return like a river. The same angels that waited in silence will now move swiftly on your behalf. Do not look back. Do not question what you left behind. Every closed door was heaven's protection. Every delay was divine positioning. You are not late. You are right on time. Heaven has been waiting for this moment. Your obedience, your surrender, your yes. Now, lift your eyes for a moment. Imagine the throne room filled with light, the sound of countless wings moving in rhythm, trumpets echoing, the King smiling as He speaks your name. Heaven rejoices not because you earned it, but because you aligned with His will. Every act of obedience shakes the heavens and terrifies darkness. This is your divine confirmation. The waiting is over. You have finally stepped into what you were created for. You have chosen His will over your own. And now, heaven is no longer silent. Heaven erupts in joy. Before you leave this moment, make it prophetic. If your spirit bears witness that this word is for you, comment the number 777 below as a sign that your obedience has aligned with divine completion. Let heaven record your yes. And if this word ignited something deep within you, if it reminded you who you truly are, like, share, and subscribe, not for attention, but as a declaration that you stand with heaven's agenda. You are part of a divine movement. You are the one heaven rejoices over. You are the chosen one who finally walked in His will. The battle was never around you, it was within you. The true war was never about the people who misunderstood you, the circumstances that broke you, or the doors that refused to open. It was about the quiet tug-of-war between your will and His. Heaven saw every hidden struggle, every silent argument inside your heart when you whispered, "But why? Lord?" You were fighting not against demons in the shadows, but against surrender itself. You see, obedience sounds beautiful when sung from a distance. It feels noble when it's preached in a sermon. But when it reaches your doorstep, when God asks for the thing you love most, obedience begins to feel like breaking. And that breaking, it is the battlefield where your destiny is forged. Every sleepless night where your mind replayed conversations, every tear that fell silently on your pillow, every sigh that escaped your chest when you felt unseen, these were not wasted. Heaven recorded each one. The Father watched as your faith was stretched, as your emotions rebelled, as your logic tried to reason with your spirit. You didn't realize it then. But in the unseen, angels stood around you, guarding the fragile flicker of faith that refused to die. You wondered why you felt such pressure, why every decision seemed heavier than before. It was because heaven had its eyes on you. You were being refined, not punished. You were being prepared for a greater measure of authority. God was not taking from you, He was training you. The pressure was proof that something precious was inside you. There were moments you almost walked away, moments when you said, "Maybe I heard wrong," or "Maybe I'm not chosen after all." Yet, even in those moments, grace surrounded you like a net, catching you before you fell too far. You were never abandoned. You were being shaped. The battle inside you was sacred, though it didn't feel that way. It was heaven's forge, the fire where the impurities of self-will melted away. Every time you said, "Not my will, but yours," even through trembling lips, you were winning a war that no one could see. Your surrender became a weapon more powerful than any sword. Remember this: the enemy doesn't fear your prayers as much as he fears your obedience. A prayer without surrender is noise, but a heart that truly yields to God becomes a thunderclap in the spiritual realm. That's why the pressure intensified every time you came close to obedience. The darkness could sense your breakthrough before you did, but you endured. You kept showing up, kept believing, even when your emotions screamed otherwise. You didn't know it then, but that persistence was prophetic. It was the sign that your spirit had matured. You stopped chasing feelings and started standing on faith. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 26, verse 41. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. That is the essence of your battle. Your spirit longed to obey, yet your humanity resisted. The will of the flesh is loud, but the whisper of the Spirit never stopped speaking. God knew your weakness, yet He never disqualified you for it. Instead, He turned your weakness into intimacy. Every time you failed and returned to Him, you weren't losing, you were learning the rhythm of grace. You have learned that true obedience does not come from strength, but from love. You obey not because you must, but because you cannot bear to be distant from His presence. That is the transformation. Heaven rejoices over not blind compliance, but love-driven surrender. Now you understand. The silent battles were not punishments, they were invitations. Every internal conflict was heaven's way of saying, "Come closer." You were being pulled into deeper alignment, refined by the friction of your own resistance. That tension was not the absence of God, it was the presence of His shaping hand. And when you finally stop fighting, when you exhale and say, "Lord, I trust you," heaven doesn't just applaud, it moves. The angels that waited in stillness now go forth to prepare your path. The storms that once raged begin to bow to peace. So, don't despise the internal wars. Chosen one, they were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to purify you, to separate your will from His, until they became one. The fire you've walked through was not random, it was the Father's forge. The silence that terrified you was not rejection, it was preparation for revelation. You have survived the hidden war. Now, with each breath, you are learning the sound of surrender, the quiet strength that shakes the heavens. There comes a point when the whisper no longer comforts, it commands. You know that moment. Chosen one. When what used to be a gentle nudge in your heart suddenly feels like a roar that you can no longer ignore. Heaven speaks, not through thunder this time, but through urgency. The season of delay ends when the voice of God transforms from invitation to instruction. You've felt it before, that stirring deep within you that refuses to quiet down. No matter how busy you make yourself, the whisper that says, "Move," even when logic says, "Wait." The divine tension between comfort and calling, you can try to silence it, drown it out with noise, distractions, or excuses. But obedience has a way of finding you again. It chases you not to punish you, but to position you. For a long time, that whisper was mercy's voice, patiently calling you home. But now, it is the sound of destiny knocking. You have matured too much for soft reminders. Heaven has upgraded its tone. It is no longer a question, it's an assignment. What was once a whisper now carries the weight of command, and it is time to answer. The word of the Lord through the prophet Elijah, recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 21 declares, "How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow Him." That is heaven's question to you now. How long will you stand at the crossroads, knowing the truth yet hesitating to act? You've seen His faithfulness. You've felt His protection. You know His voice. Yet the fear of the unknown tries to anchor your feet. The enemy whispers, "What if you fail?" But heaven responds, "What if you fly?" This is not coincidence. This is divine interruption. Everything around you, the closed doors, the sudden shifts, the restlessness in your soul, is heaven's way of saying, you can't stay here. You are being called higher, deeper, further. The assignment you carry can no longer wait in the shadows of indecision. When God calls, He doesn't always give details, but He always gives presence. The same God who spoke to Moses in the wilderness, to Samuel in the temple, to Mary in a quiet village, now speaks to you, and He asks not for your plan, but for your yes. Obedience at this stage is no longer about comfort, it's about kingdom alignment. Every yes becomes a key, unlocking territories you didn't know were bound. Every act of obedience creates ripples that outlive your lifetime. You are not just obeying for yourself. Your obedience will free others. Heaven takes notice of those who listen. There is a reason you've been feeling divine pressure lately. It is not anxiety, it's spiritual pregnancy. Something within you is ready to be birthed, and delay has become disobedience. The longer you hesitate, the louder heaven calls. So listen again. That whisper you hear isn't random. It's the same voice that spoke to creation, that called light out of darkness, now calling purpose out of you. You can't ignore it anymore. The moment you obey, the entire rhythm of your life will change. Peace will settle where confusion once lived. Strength will rise where fear once ruled. God's whisper has shifted into a decree, and you, beloved, are being summoned into motion. Heaven is no longer waiting for you to believe you already do. Heaven is waiting for you to move. You've asked for confirmation. Here it is. The still, small voice that you feel tugging right now is the voice that formed you. It's not in your head, it's in your spirit. It's God reminding you that your delay could be costing someone else their breakthrough. You are connected to more lives than you realize. When you obey, others find courage to do the same. The hour is here. You cannot unhear His call. You cannot outrun it anymore. Every reason you've given Him for not yet will melt in His presence. The only answer that carries power is obedience. And if your heart knows this word is for you, if something inside you is stirring, take a prophetic step. Comment, "I'm listening," below. Let it be your public declaration that you are done running, done reasoning, done doubting. "I'm listening" means you have turned your ear fully toward heaven, ready to obey. Do it not for attention, but as a prophetic symbol, because when you declare that the unseen world listens too, heaven hears your yes, and hell hears your resistance. The comment is not just a phrase, it is warfare. It is agreement. It is you saying, "Lord, I hear, and I will follow." Heaven is calling. The whisper has become a command, and your response, your quiet, trembling yes, will shake eternity. Surrender does not come with music playing or trumpets sounding. It often arrives in silence, in the stillness between heartbreak and hope. The breaking point is never grand, it is sacred. It is the quiet place where your pride finally bows and your heart whispers, "I can't do this my way anymore." That moment, though it feels like the end, is where heaven begins its greatest work. You didn't lose control, you handed it back to the one who never lost it. Everything in you had to shatter so that your spirit could finally breathe again. Surrender is not defeat, it is alignment. It is the moment when your will and God's will collide, and the fragments of your plans become the foundation for His promise. You remember the moment well, don't you? The weight in your chest, the trembling in your hands. You weren't just crying, you were being released. The plans you once clung to began to fall apart. And though it terrified you, something deeper inside whispered, "This is right." You were standing at the threshold of divine exchange, your control for his peace, your logic for his leading. Every chosen one must pass through this sacred breaking. It is the cost of glory. You cannot carry divine purpose in a vessel still clinging to self. God loves you too much to let you build your destiny on your own strength. That is why he waited, not until you failed, but until you yielded. In that moment of surrender, something invisible broke in the heavens. The resistance that once surrounded your life lost its grip. Chains you didn't even know you carried fell away quietly. Because when you surrender, you no longer wrestle against God, you move with him. And what once felt like loss begins to feel like peace. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." That single truth is the essence of surrender. Trust is not born from clarity, it is born from chaos. When everything you built starts to crumble, when logic no longer works, that is when trust becomes real. Faith cannot grow in comfort. It must be tested in the fire of uncertainty. You thought surrender meant weakness, but you were wrong. Surrender is strength, wearing humility as armor. It's choosing to believe that even when you can't trace his hand, you can trust his heart. You stopped fighting for control and started flowing with his design. And though it cost you everything familiar, it gave you something unshakable, peace that passes understanding. Do you realize what happened in that unseen moment? Heaven leaned closer. The Father, who had been watching you wrestle for years, smiled. The angels, who had stood silently by your side, finally exhaled. Because surrender is not the sound of defeat, it's the signal of readiness. You had finally reached the posture where heaven could trust you with more. Everything changed after that. Not instantly, not visibly, but deeply. You began to feel different, not lighter, but freer. The noise in your mind quieted. The chaos around you no longer dictated your peace. You were no longer reacting, you were resting. That is the supernatural exchange that happens only through surrender. When you lay down your will, God lifts up your purpose. He doesn't waste your brokenness. He rebuilds it with divine precision. The things you thought were destroyed were actually being reshaped. What you called endings, heaven called beginnings. You might still see the scars of your surrender, but those marks are proof of transformation. They remind the enemy that you no longer belong to fear, you belong to obedience. And they remind heaven that you are ready for greater things. Now, when storms rise, you no longer panic. You listen, because once you've surrendered, peace becomes your weapon. The same wind that once terrified you now carries you. You have learned to let God steer the ship. Even when you cannot see the horizon, do not forget that surrender is not a one-time act, it's a daily rhythm. Each morning you wake up and whisper, "Not my will, Lord, but yours." Each time you release what you cannot control, heaven moves again. You have learned that the safest place is not in understanding, but in trusting. And though the world might see your surrender as weakness, heaven calls it power. The truly powerful are those who no longer need to win every battle, because they have already yielded to the one who never loses. So keep walking in that posture of surrender. It is not passive, it is prophetic. You are not giving up, you are being lifted. Every act of surrender writes your name deeper into the story heaven is telling. And in that story, your breaking point was not your ending, it was your beginning. It happened in a breath. The heavens, which had watched your struggle in silence, suddenly erupted in sound. The moment your will bent to His, the atmosphere changed, not just around you, but within you. All of heaven rejoiced. Angels, who had stood motionless for years, broke into song. Trumpets of light echoed through the chambers of eternity, because when a chosen one finally says, yes, all creation celebrates. You may not have heard it with your ears, but your spirit felt it, that sudden weight of glory, that deep calm that follows surrender. Heaven's applause isn't loud like thunder, it's resonant like the ocean. It fills the unseen, reverberating through your destiny, confirming that you are no longer walking alone. In the unseen realm, your obedience was not a small ripple, it was a tidal wave. It moved through time, unlocking things you didn't even pray for. The Father's heart swelled with joy, because what He desired most from you was never perfection, it was agreement. When your will finally aligned with His, heaven called your name in celebration. We are reminded through the writings of Luke, chapter 15, verse 10. There is joy in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents. And heaven's joy is not distant, it is deeply personal. That rejoicing wasn't just over someone somewhere, it was over you. The King Himself rose from His throne, smiling. As light rippled across eternity, the angels shouted, because your alignment means another beacon of divine will shines on the earth. Imagine it. Chosen one, the skies above your life illuminated, your name spoken with delight in the courts of heaven. You didn't just make a choice, you shifted history. You stepped into the current of divine purpose, and the flow began to carry you where striving never could. And now, the evidence of heaven's joy will begin to manifest. Peace where there was confusion, provision where there was drought, connection where there was isolation. Because obedience draws heaven closer, it bridges the distance between what you've prayed for and what is written about you in eternity. When heaven celebrates, creation responds. You may start to notice small miracles, gentle confirmations, the right words at the right time, doors opening without force, strength returning where you thought it was gone. These are the echoes of that heavenly applause. It's God's way of saying, I'm with you. Keep walking. You are like a seed that finally broke open to the world. It looked like you were buried, but heaven knew you were planted. The soil of surrender became the birthplace of new life. Now, roots are forming deep beneath the surface. And soon, what was hidden will bloom. Let that image rest in your spirit. The seed doesn't fight the soil, it yields to it. And in that quiet yielding, growth happens. Your obedience is the seed, and heaven's joy is the sunlight. Together, they will produce something the world cannot ignore. Now, as you continue on this sacred path, remember that others are watching, silently learning from your transformation. Your courage to obey gives them courage to try. The way you listen, surrender, and walk faithfully becomes a mirror reflecting God's faithfulness. This is why heaven celebrates not just for you, but for the ripple your life will create. Somewhere, someone will find hope because you didn't give up. Somewhere, a wandering heart will return because your light reminded them of home. You are no longer walking just for yourself. You carry a chorus of destinies within you. And as that realization settles in, I ask you gently, sincerely, if this message has stirred your heart, if you can sense the warmth of heaven's celebration over your life, pause for a moment. Don't scroll away. Let this be your reflection. When you feel ready, like this message, not as an act of habit, but as a symbolic gesture, a way of saying, I stand with heaven's joy. Share it if you feel led, not for numbers, but so that someone else who's wrestling to surrender might find their way too, and subscribe if your spirit resonates. Because what we build here isn't content, it's communion. This space is not a stage. It's a sanctuary for the chosen ones who are learning to walk in His will. Think of it like lighting a candle in a vast cathedral. One flame may seem small, but when joined with others, it becomes a blaze that chases shadows away. Every share, every connection, every moment of reflection becomes another flicker in the dark. Together, we remind the world that heaven still celebrates obedience, that God still moves through surrendered hearts. You are living proof of that. You are the sound of heaven's joy made visible on earth. The angels are still singing your name. The moment you obeyed, something unseen was placed upon you, a crown not of gold or jewels, but of purpose. You may not have felt its weight at first. You may have walked on, unaware that heaven had marked you. Yet, in the spiritual realm, a coronation took place. Angels witnessed it. Demons noticed it. Heaven recorded it. You were crowned not for your perfection, but for your obedience. This crown cannot be seen in mirrors or measured in human glory. It is a crown woven from faith, endurance, and surrender. It carries the scent of brokenness made beautiful, of prayers whispered through tears. It is heaven's acknowledgement that you didn't give up, that you chose trust over understanding. You are no longer the same. Something shifted. When you speak now, there is authority in your voice. When you walk, there is weight in your steps. Not arrogance, anointing. The kind of quiet strength that only comes from being chosen, tested, and refined. Heaven's crowns are never given cheaply. They are forged in the fire of obedience, cooled in the waters of surrender, and polished in the winds of endurance. Every trial you faced was shaping the metal. Every heartbreak added luster. Every yes made it shine brighter. You thought you were breaking, but heaven was building. The apostle wrote in his second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8, Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness. And now, chosen one, that same promise rests upon you. This is not the kind of crown the world understands. It doesn't glitter under stage lights. It doesn't fade with time. It radiates glory that only heaven can see. That's why some people no longer recognize you. They sense the change, but cannot explain it. You no longer fit the patterns of who you were before. The grace that covers you confuses those still bound by the world. But don't hide your transformation to make others comfortable. Your crown is not for decoration, it's for demonstration. It is proof that obedience has rewards that cannot be earned, only bestowed. You are walking evidence that heaven honors surrender. From now on, your battles will change. The same enemy that once tempted you to quit will now fear the authority resting upon you. Darkness recognizes who you've become. It no longer sees the struggling soul, it sees the crowned vessel of light. You are no longer just surviving, you are reigning in purpose. Understand this, a crown is not just a symbol of victory, it's a sign of responsibility. Heaven has trusted you with influence. And the weight you feel isn't burden, it's glory. You have been chosen to carry light into places where hope has died. You will not always need to speak. Sometimes your presence alone will shift the atmosphere. And though you may still face storms, you will stand differently now. The waves may rise, but they will not consume you. The fire may burn, but it will not scar you. You have already been through worse. You have already learned that surrender is stronger than struggle. So, wear your invisible crown with reverence, not pride. Let humility be the jewel that holds it in place. Let love be the gold that keeps it shining. And let your daily obedience polish it anew. Heaven celebrates. Yes, but heaven also watches. Not to condemn, but to cheer. The one who placed the crown upon you is not distant. He walks beside you still. Every step you take in alignment brings more light into the world. You are part of a divine chain reaction. Obedience, birthing transformation. Transformation, birthing revival. Now pause for a moment. Chosen one, feel the weight of what rests upon you. You didn't stumble into this. You were chosen for it. Every scar on your soul became the foundation for this calling. You are proof that surrender builds kings and queens in the kingdom of God. And as you receive this truth in your spirit, take one small prophetic act. Comment the number 444 below. That number represents divine establishment and heavenly foundation. It's a way of saying, Lord, I accept this crown. I will walk in what you have placed on me. Don't comment lightly. Let it be an act of reverence. A moment of spiritual agreement. Heaven recognizes these signs. It sees your acknowledgement and records it as faith in motion. When you type it, let your heart whisper, I receive the weight and purpose of what you've placed upon me. End quote. You are crowned, not with human honor, but with eternal significance. Walk as one who carries heaven's authority. Speak as one who knows they are backed by the throne. Love as one who remembers how mercy crowned them first. You have stepped from striving into reigning, from seeking approval into walking in divine appointment. Your crown may be unseen, but its glory will be unmistakable. When you obeyed, a sound traveled through the unseen world, a tremor of light that rippled through every shadow. Hell heard it. Darkness felt it. The forces that once mocked your hesitation began to tremble. Your obedience was not a quiet act in the natural. It was a declaration of war in the spiritual. You may not have seen it, but when you said yes, the balance of power shifted. Every demon that once whispered doubt into your mind suddenly lost its authority. Every curse that tried to cling to your lineage cracked under the weight of your obedience. Because obedience is not just compliance, it is confrontation. It is the moment heaven stands tall inside a human vessel and declares, no more. Hell, you have to understand, chosen one, that hell is not afraid of your prayers, it is afraid of your alignment. The moment you move in sync with heaven's rhythm, darkness loses strategy. For years, the enemy tried to keep you in delay, confusion, and fear. He wanted you tired enough to give up, distracted enough to forget who you are. But your yes dismantled every plan. You became a threat, not because of what you have, but because of what you carry. The Spirit spoke through the Apostle James. Chapter 4, verse 7. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. And when you obeyed, that resistance was complete. You no longer resist by fear, you resist by authority. Obedience doesn't just move heaven, it shakes hell. Every time you choose to forgive, you disarm bitterness. Every time you worship instead of worry, you dethrone anxiety. Every time you speak life where death tried to grow, you break chains generations long. That's why your warfare intensified right before your breakthrough. The closer you came to obedience, the more hell panicked. Your obedience exposed the enemy's limits. He realized he could wound your emotions, but not your spirit. He could delay your path, but not your destiny. You were built with divine resilience, a spiritual DNA that doesn't quit. The enemy underestimated your endurance because he never expected you to keep believing after the storm. Yet here you are standing, shining, crowned, and unbothered by the noise of darkness. You have become light's response to centuries of darkness. When you walk into a room, spiritual equilibrium shifts. The light within you isn't just illumination, it's invasion. Every step you take in obedience is an act of warfare. That's why your life cannot be casual anymore. You carry something sacred now, something the enemy once possessed but lost, authority backed by purity. You used to fear darkness, but now darkness fears you, not because you are loud, but because you are anchored. The most dangerous believer is not the one who shouts, it's the one who stays still in storms. Trusting the unseen, hell trembles at stillness. It cannot comprehend peace under pressure. Your peace has become your greatest weapon. There were times when you didn't understand why attacks came, even after you surrendered. But that's because surrender doesn't end the battle, it relocates it. You moved from fighting for victory to fighting from victory. The war no longer defines you, your obedience does. And every fiery dart that flies toward you now only exposes how powerful your presence truly is. The enemy's fear of you is proof of your progress. He doesn't waste energy on those who pose no threat. So, the opposition you've faced is not punishment, it's confirmation. You are walking proof that light wins, that obedience breaks cycles, that surrender rebuilds nations in the spirit. And there's something else: your obedience doesn't just silence the enemy, it instructs others. Those who once mocked your surrender will one day seek your wisdom. They'll ask how you kept your peace, how you didn't lose faith. And you'll answer not with pride, but with testimony. I listened, I obeyed, and heaven fought for me. That testimony will echo. It will awaken others to resist the darkness in their own lives. You are not merely surviving spiritual warfare, you are training others to win theirs. Every victory you gain becomes a manual for those still trapped in fear. So, when the night seems long, when the pressure feels unbearable, remember this truth: obedience already guaranteed the outcome. The war is not about winning anymore, it's about standing. You are not fighting to be free, you are fighting as one who is already free. Heaven calls you warrior, not because you never fell, but because you never stopped rising. The sound that once echoed in heaven when you obeyed still reverberates in hell, a constant reminder that one yielded heart can dismantle centuries of darkness. Walk boldly. Chosen one. The war that once terrified you has become your training ground. You are not waiting for deliverance. You are the deliverance. When you chose to obey, heaven didn't just celebrate you, were entrusted. Authority was placed upon your shoulders, quiet yet unshakable, like a mantle woven from fire and light. You may not have seen it, but all creation recognized it. The earth responds differently now when you speak, because your words are no longer mere sound, they are assignments. Heaven has backed your voice. You have entered a realm where your obedience has weight. When you declare peace, sheaves must bow. When you release forgiveness, chains break. When you pray, the unseen world rearranges. The mantle of authority that rests on you is not borrowed. It is inherited. It comes from the one who gave you his spirit and said, "Walk as I walked." You carry divine authority not to dominate, but to liberate. The authority of heaven is gentle yet unrelenting. It doesn't need to prove itself. It simply is. When you speak truth in love, darkness loses ground. When you move in compassion, strongholds fall. The enemy fears those who know who they are, not because they shout, but because they understand alignment. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10, verse 19. "Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions." That power is not symbolic, it is spiritual reality. It means that nothing beneath heaven has permission to rule over you anymore. The authority you walk in is not earned by effort, but established by identity. You were born to walk in this, but for so long, you doubted it. You thought authority belonged only to the loud, the visible, the flawless. Yet, heaven delights in using those who once whispered, "I'm not enough," because the authority of God is perfected in humility, not in pride. It rests not on the unbroken, but on the surrendered. This mantle does not make you invincible, it makes you responsible. You carry the weight of heaven's heart now. Every word you speak, every gesture of grace, every act of obedience ripples through eternity. The authority you have been given is not for control, it is for restoration. You are not sent to rule over people, but to call them back to the Father, and that is why your warfare changed. The enemy no longer fights you as a wandering soul, he fights you as a commander. He fears your prayers because they carry orders. When you speak healing, heaven dispatches angels. When you intercede, principalities lose their grip. You are walking in delegated power, and the realms of darkness know it. The true mark of authority is not volume, but peace. When storms rage, you do not panic, you stand. You've learned that stillness is not passivity, it's posture. It's the stance of one who knows the battle is already decided. You are learning to govern not by reaction, but by revelation. Authority is not about outward displays, it is about inner mastery. When the world provokes you and you choose love, that's authority. When anxiety knocks and you answer with worship, that's dominion. When chaos swirls and you remain anchored, you are ruling in the Spirit. The crown on your life is seen not by the noise you make, but by the peace you carry. There's something sacred about how authority moves. It doesn't announce itself, it manifests. Like the wind. It is invisible, yet undeniable. People feel it before they understand it. That's why, lately, your presence unsettles some and comforts others. Those aligned with heaven find peace near you. Those bound by darkness grow restless. It's not you they react to, it's the mantle upon you. Be careful with this mantle. Authority mishandled becomes arrogance, but authority submitted becomes anointing. The more you stay low before God, the higher He lifts your voice in the unseen. The moment you think it's yours, it fades. But the moment you remember it's His flowing through you, it multiplies. This is the sacred paradox. The more you surrender, the stronger your authority grows. The less you demand recognition, the more heaven confirms you. You don't need to prove power when power is proven through peace. You don't need to fight for honor when you already wear heaven's approval. And remember, this mantle doesn't isolate you, it integrates you. It draws you into the heartbeat of heaven's agenda. You will begin to feel God's grief for the broken and His fire for justice. Authority is not about distance from pain, it's about proximity to compassion. You are trusted to carry His heart into places where religion lost its way. When obedience becomes a lifestyle, reversal becomes inevitable. The things that once pressed against you begin to turn in your favor. The delays, the betrayals, the rejections, they start to reveal their hidden purpose. You begin to see that what the enemy meant for harm was, in fact, divine setup. Heaven was never late. It was aligning the pieces for a reversal only possible through your surrender. There was a time when you cried out, "Why is everything falling apart?" But now, you see, nothing fell apart. It fell into place. The very pain that once buried you became the soil for your resurrection. The silence that once tormented you became the soundproof chamber where your discernment was sharpened. The doors that closed in your face were never denial. They were divine redirection. Heaven specializes in reversals. What feels like an ending is often the threshold of renewal. You are walking in the season of divine compensation, where everything stolen will return multiplied. Every lost opportunity is being rewritten in favor. Every no you received is making space for the yes that will shift generations. The prophet Joel declared in the sacred text of Joel, chapter 2, verse 25, "I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten." Those words are not poetic, they are prophetic. Restoration is not coming, it has already begun. Look closely, and you will notice subtle signs. Relationships once fractured begin to heal without effort. Resources that seemed lost begin to reappear in unexpected ways. Peace returns in moments you thought it was gone forever. The storms didn't destroy you, they delivered you to a new shore. And now, as the clouds part, you realize that what was meant to weaken you actually trained you to reign. You are not a victim of loss, you are a steward of recovery. Every tear watered the seed of what is now blooming. Every disappointment refined your discernment, teaching you to see beyond surface-level pain. God was never punishing you, He was positioning you for a comeback only heaven could design. This reversal season doesn't always arrive with fanfare. It slips in quietly, in moments when you least expect it. Suddenly, something that used to hurt no longer holds power. Someone who once wounded you no longer defines you. That's the evidence that heaven has turned the tide. Your spirit has outgrown the place your pain was born. The beauty of divine reversal is this: it doesn't just give back what was taken, it transforms you into someone who no longer needs what was lost. You emerge lighter, wiser, freer. You stop begging for restoration and start living from it. You begin to understand that true blessing isn't about receiving, it's about becoming. Those who doubted your endurance will soon witness your resurrection. But this time, you won't need to prove anything. The fruit of obedience will speak louder than explanations. People will see your peace, your stability, your quiet confidence, and realize that God truly restores. You will carry evidence that obedience is never wasted. There was a time when you prayed for doors to open. Now, you will become the door. Your presence will create opportunity for others to enter healing. You will carry the atmosphere of restoration wherever you go. You are becoming what heaven uses to rewrite stories. So, when you look at the scars, don't see them as reminders of pain. See them as symbols of reversal. Every mark on your heart testifies, this is where God turned it around. Those scars shine like jewels in the crown of your testimony. You no longer hide them, you wear them as proof that mercy has triumphed over judgment. Even the seasons of silence were not wasted. Heaven was working behind closed doors, reshaping the timeline, redeeming what was lost. You didn't miss your moment, you became it. What looked like delay was really God, perfecting the details. And now, as heaven's wind begins to move again, you can sense it, the shift. You can almost feel restoration breathing down your neck, whispering, "You're next." Every prophecy, every prayer, every quiet moment of endurance has brought you here. You are standing in the field where the harvest finally answers the seed. If your spirit recognizes this truth, if something within you resonates with the word reversal, take this moment to act prophetically. Comment, "It's turning" below. Let that simple declaration be your agreement with heaven. "It's turning" isn't just a phrase, it's a prophecy. When you write it, you are speaking into your own atmosphere, commanding what has been stagnant to move, declaring that the season of loss has expired. You are placing your faith into motion, aligning your words with heaven's movement. Every turn of obedience leads to another turn of blessing. The wheel of divine timing is moving, and your name is engraved upon it. Heaven is reversing what hell attempted. And this time, the victory will not be temporary, it will be complete. The tide has turned. Chosen one, you have stepped into your divine reversal. There are moments in the unseen realm when the invisible becomes visible, when heaven sends reinforcements to walk beside you. You may not see them with your eyes, but you have felt them, the sudden calm in chaos, the unexpected strength when you thought you would break, the peace that enters a room without reason. Those are not coincidences. Those are angels taking their posts. Heaven never sends angels to stand idly by. They are messengers, protectors, executors of divine order. And now, because your obedience has aligned with heaven's will, a new rank of angels has been assigned to your path. They carry scrolls with your name written upon them, assignments, promises, and divine protections marked with the seal of the Most High. You've seen glimpses of their work without realizing it. The accident that didn't happen, the diagnosis that reversed, the email that came at the perfect moment, the peace that found you at midnight. Each was the trace of unseen hands moving on your behalf. The psalmist declared in the writings of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 11, "He shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways." Those ancient words still breathe truth. You are not walking alone. Heaven's army moves in rhythm with your obedience. Think of it like a great symphony, each angel a note, each act of faith a melody. Together, they create the music of divine motion. harmonizing your life with heaven's purpose. Where you once stumbled, they now steady your steps. Where you once felt unseen, they surround you like the warmth of morning light breaking through night. The angels assigned to you don't follow human logic. They are attracted to faith, not fear. When you trust, they draw closer. When you obey, they act swiftly. They are heaven's hands, and your obedience gives them permission to move. Some battles you thought you fought alone were actually victories secured by unseen warriors. Every sleepless night where you prayed through tears, there were angels stationed at your door. Every whisper of, "Lord, help me," became a trumpet call in the spiritual realm. Your surrender summoned strength from heaven's armies. There's a reason you survived what others didn't. There's a reason peace keeps finding you. Heaven has invested too much in you to let the enemy have the final word. You are surrounded by divine protection, guided by unseen wisdom, and shielded by eternal love. And as you move forward, more angels are being dispatched. They go before you into rooms you haven't entered, conversations you haven't had, opportunities you haven't imagined. They prepare the atmosphere, soften hearts, and open doors. Your obedience doesn't just move heaven, it mobilizes it. Imagine walking through life like a ship gliding over the sea at dawn. The water may look still, but beneath the surface, unseen currents guide your course. That's what it's like to walk under angelic covering. You are carried by something far greater than your own effort. You are upheld by divine orchestration. And perhaps right now, as you listen to these words, you feel it. The quiet assurance that you are not alone. That warmth in your chest. That calm in your breath. That sudden awareness of peace. It's heaven reminding you, we are with you, beloved. If this truth is resonating in your spirit, if it's awakening gratitude instead of fear, let that gratitude become a response, not for attention, but for alignment. When this message finds you, take a moment to like it as an act of agreement, not because it's content, but because it's confirmation. When you share, imagine it not as forwarding a video, but as passing a torch. Somewhere out there is another soul trembling under the weight of battle, wondering if heaven still sees them. Your simple act of sharing becomes the whisper that reaches them, saying, "You are not forgotten. Help is already here." No. And when you subscribe, don't do it for routine, do it for relationship. Each message that flows here is a continuation of this divine conversation between heaven and your heart. Together, we build a sanctuary where the chosen ones can find strength, hope, and truth. This isn't a platform, it's a gathering place for souls awakening to purpose. Think of this community like a lighthouse standing on the edge of a stormy sea. Every new light added strengthens the glow that helps others find safe passage. You are part of that light. Every connection, every comment, every prayer multiplies the radiance of what God is doing. So, breathe deeply. Chosen one, you are not alone. The angels have taken their posts. The heavens are still moving. And your journey, guided by unseen hands, continues one obedient step at a time. There is a kind of peace that cannot be explained. It does not depend on answers, nor does it require evidence. It flows quietly, like a river beneath the surface, untouched by the noise of circumstance. That peace has found you. It is the sign that you are no longer wrestling with the will of God, you are walking in it. You have discovered what many spend a lifetime searching for, the stillness that lives inside surrender. You no longer chase validation, because you are grounded in purpose. You no longer fear silence, because you have learned that silence is not absence, it is habitation. God no longer speaks to calm your storms, He speaks within them, and His voice has become the compass of your days. This peace doesn't mean the absence of conflict, it means the presence of confidence. You no longer measure safety by control, you measure it by trust. You are anchored now, not to outcomes, but to obedience. What once would have shattered you now refines you. What once made you anxious now draws you into prayer. The peace you carry is not fragile, it's forged. We are reminded through the words of Isaiah, chapter 26, verse 3, "Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee." That is the architecture of your new life. Your peace is not accidental, it is constructed, built upon focus, anchored in faith. You have learned to guard that peace. The world will try to pull you into its urgency, rushing you to decide, to prove, to perform. But heaven's rhythm is never rushed. You are no longer moved by the frantic pace of fear. You wait differently now. You listen more than you speak. You move when He moves, not when pressure demands it. Even your prayers have changed. You no longer pray for escape, you pray for endurance. You no longer beg for signs, you ask for sensitivity. That shift is the mark of maturity. You've learned that peace is not found in perfect conditions, but in perfect alignment. There was a time when you equated peace with comfort. You thought it would mean an easy road, smooth and silent. But the truth is, peace often blooms in the middle of storms. It's the strength to stay when running seems logical. It's the calm that sits quietly in the chaos and says, He is still here. And that calm has authority. It silences arguments, diffuses tension, heals atmospheres. When people come near you, they sense it, even if they can't explain it. That's because peace is contagious. It emanates from the Spirit, like light from a flame. You are now a carrier of that light. Do not underestimate its power. Peace is heaven's proof that the war is already won. The enemy can't replicate it. He can only try to disturb it. That's why your peace has been under attack. It is your most powerful weapon. Every time you refuse to panic, darkness loses ground. Every time you choose rest over reaction, heaven advances. Peace has become your portion because obedience has become your posture. You don't need to strive to keep it. You simply need to stay in alignment. Every time you turn your thoughts back to Him, peace returns like a tide, reclaiming the shore. It doesn't ask for permission, it simply flows. There's a sacred strength in this quietness. You don't need to announce what God is doing in you. Peace speaks for itself. It tells the world, I have seen something greater than fear. It reveals that your hope is no longer conditional, it is covenantal. You are tethered to something eternal. In this new season, you will find that peace becomes your guide more than logic. When something disturbs your inner stillness, that is heaven's way of saying, not this way. And when peace floods you, even when the path makes no sense, that's confirmation. You've learned to follow not just His voice, but His rhythm. You've walked through storms, fires, and battles that could have broken anyone else. But peace became your shield. It didn't stop the waves, it carried you above them. The world calls it serenity. Heaven calls it victory. Because only the victorious can rest, while the war still rages. And so, here you are, unchained from anxiety, untethered from chaos, untouched by fear. You are not indifferent. You are deeply rooted. The noise of the world has grown faint because your heart is tuned to another frequency. You've learned the holy art of stillness, the strength to stay centered when everything else spins. This is what it means to walk in His will. It's not about doing more, it's about being one with His heart. It's not about escaping storms, it's about carrying peace into them. You have become the calm in the midst of winds. The living evidence that peace is not the reward for obedience, it is the result of it. Every chosen one faces the test that follows peace, the test of continuance. It is one thing to obey once, it is another to remain faithful when the glow fades and the silence stretches. You've crossed mountains of surrender and valleys of warfare, but now heaven asks for something deeper, consistency. Can you still say yes when no one is watching? Can you still walk by faith when no fresh confirmation comes? This test is subtle. It doesn't roar like temptation. It whispers like weariness. It comes not through chaos, but through calm. When the excitement of breakthrough passes, when routine returns, heaven observes what remains. Will your obedience endure when it's no longer new? Continuance is the mark of the mature. Anyone can obey for a moment, but only the faithful obey for a lifetime. God is not only after your momentary surrender, He's after your steady devotion. He is training your heart to beat in rhythm with eternity, not emotion. The words of Christ, recorded in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 13 declare, "He that endures to the end shall be saved." This is not merely about survival, it's about steadfastness. It's the endurance that comes from knowing that what began in obedience must be finished in faith. In this season, the enemy will not tempt you with great rebellion, but with quiet distraction. He will whisper, "You've done enough. You can slow down now." But heaven responds, "Keep walking, because your consistency carries generational weight. What you sustain now will sustain others later." The fire of obedience must be fed daily. It does not burn bright through emotion, it burns steady through intimacy. Every time you return to prayer when it's inconvenient, every time you worship when it's dry, every time you forgive when it still hurts you, fan the flame. You are proving that your obedience is not a phase, it's your identity. This is what separates the chosen from the called. Many hear the invitation, but few remain through the waiting. The world celebrates beginnings, heaven crowns endurance. You may not always feel the same intensity, but your persistence is itself an act of worship. Heaven watches every step that says, "I will not turn back." Oh, endurance refine purity. It strips away motives that were hidden beneath passion. When the spotlight fades, what's left is truth. And in that truth, heaven finds something rare, a heart that doesn't serve for reward, but for relationship. You've reached the stage where God is not testing your strength, but your stability. This doesn't mean the path will always feel alive. There will be stretches of silence, moments when obedience feels ordinary. But do not mistake stillness for stagnation. Even when nothing looks different, roots are growing deeper. You are being established. Heaven builds slowly, but what it builds lasts forever. Some will drift away, chasing the next emotional spark. Others will lose focus, mistaking stillness for emptiness. But not you. You have tasted the depth of obedience and seen that it's worth more than constant novelty. You are learning that joy doesn't always shout, it abides. And that abiding joy is what sustains the chosen. There will be days when you question, Lord, am I still on the right path? The answer will come softly, yes, because you haven't stopped walking. You may not see fireworks, but you will feel the steady rhythm of grace guiding your steps. Heaven does not measure progress by noise, but by endurance. This stage of your journey is not about achieving, it's about maintaining. Not maintaining in your own strength, but abiding in His. You are no longer a sprinter, you are a marathon runner in the Spirit. The early rush has faded, but now your stride is steady, your focus clear. You have learned to find God not just in revelation, but in repetition. Every sunrise is a reminder that faithfulness is divine rhythm. The sun rises, not because it feels inspired, but because it was created to do so. You too rise not because every day feels glorious, but because obedience has become your nature. And now, heaven invites you to seal this word as an act of endurance. Comment the number 555 below. It represents grace, multiplied grace to continue, grace to endure, grace to finish strong. When you write it, don't treat it as a symbol, treat it as a declaration. I will keep walking. I will keep believing. I will not lose heart. And heaven takes note of those who endure. You have proven that peace was not your destination, it was your preparation. What began with surrender will end with glory. You are still standing, still believing, still becoming, and that is victory. There are moments when heaven speaks not through thunder or wind, but through the gentle murmuring of the Spirit, those whispers that reach you in dreams, in stillness, in passing moments of awareness. They are not loud, yet they linger. They are not constant, yet they never fade. These are the voices from the throne room, the confirmations that you are still seen, still guided, still within His perfect design. When God wants to reassure you, He often does not shout. Instead, He lets His presence brush against your spirit like a wind through leaves. You wake in the middle of the night, and a verse floats into your thoughts. You overhear a stranger say a phrase that mirrors your prayer. You scroll past a message that feels too personal to be coincidence. That is heaven speaking. These are not random moments, they are divine alignments. In these moments of communion, the spiritual and the natural overlap. You sense that the air feels different, charged with meaning. The veil between heaven and earth grows thin, and you realize that the same God who commands galaxies is speaking personally to you. That awareness humbles you. It silences your ambitions and awakens your reverence. The words of Amos, chapter 3, verse 7 remain as a promise. Surely the Lord God does nothing unless He reveals His secret to His servants, the prophets. That revelation has become your inheritance. You no longer guess at purpose, you hear it unfolding. When heaven speaks, it is never random. Each whisper builds upon the last, forming patterns that only the patient can perceive. That is why stillness matters. You cannot hear the divine while running at the world's speed. Revelation requires rest. God doesn't compete with noise. He waits until your spirit quiets enough to listen. You've begun to recognize the rhythm. The more you trust, the clearer His voice becomes. Doubt used to make you question if it was truly God. But now discernment has replaced insecurity. You've learned to test what you hear, not through fear, but through peace. If it carries the fragrance of love, if it aligns with truth, if it draws you closer to His heart, it's Him. And sometimes His voice feels like memory, a reminder of what He already said. God rarely changes the direction, He often reaffirms it. The repetition isn't a lack of creativity, it's a sign of mercy. He knows how easily human hearts forget, so He keeps reminding you of what still matters. He speaks in layers. What you once understood as instruction now feels like invitation. What once sounded like correction now feels like care. The same word that convicted you yesterday comforts you today. That's because revelation grows with you. It matures as your spirit does. There will be seasons when the voice seems distant, when revelation feels rare. Don't panic. Silence is not absence, it is gestation. When heaven grows quiet, it is not ignoring you, it is forming something deeper within you. The next word will come not as an echo, but as an awakening. Dreams may carry fragments of messages, faces, places, symbols that stir your heart. In those moments, don't rush to interpret everything. Sometimes the revelation isn't meant for explanation, but for alignment. Heaven speaks to your spirit long before your mind understands. That's why revelation often feels like peace before it becomes clear. You've entered the stage where you no longer seek words for curiosity, but for communion. You don't ask, "What will happen?" You ask, "Who are you in this?" That shift changes everything. The voice that once guided you now begins to share with you. You move from following instructions to participating in conversation, and in those sacred exchanges, you begin to feel something even deeper: God's trust. He does not reveal secrets to those who treat revelation like information. He entrusts them to those who carry it with reverence. You have proven trustworthy. You hold His words not as tools, but as treasures. So keep listening, not with your ears, but with your heart. The language of heaven is not always sound, it is presence. It's the nudge that redirects your steps, the peace that confirms your choices, the tears that flow when truth touches your soul. Those are all ways heaven speaks. You are no longer just hearing from the throne, you are living in rhythm with it. The whispers that once startled you now feel familiar, like the breath of a friend. And though you may not always see where the voice is leading, you know this: every word that proceeds from His mouth is life, and that life now dwells in you. Your obedience has done more than change your own story. It has begun to illuminate the paths of others. Light does not announce itself, it simply shines. And without effort, you have become that light. The same radiance that once flickered timidly within you now burns with steady strength, guiding those who are still wandering in the shadows you once knew so well. It began quietly. A friend noticed peace in your tone, a softness in your reactions, a calm that couldn't be explained. Someone asked, "How did you survive that?" And you found yourself speaking of grace rather than pain. Without realizing it, you became the living testimony of what surrender looks like. Your words now carry healing because they were birthed in honesty, not pride. This is what heaven intended all along, that your story would become a map. The moments you thought were wasted have become directions for others. Your scars now speak fluently, translating the language of pain into the language of hope. Every valley you walk through now has a signpost that reads, "There is a way out." Of the words of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 16 declare, "Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works, and glorify your Father, which is in heaven." That verse has become your reality. You no longer strive to impress, you live to reflect. You've learned that the purpose of light is not to be admired, it is to reveal the path. And here is the mystery of divine reflection. The more you give your light away, the brighter it becomes. Encouragement does not deplete you, it multiplies. When you comfort others, the same comfort that once healed you flows again through your words. When you share your journey, heaven renews your strength. You are not emptying yourself, you are channeling heaven's endless supply. It is not always grand gestures that change lives. Sometimes it's the quiet faithfulness that no one sees. The way you choose kindness instead of resentment, the patience you show when others lose control, the smile that carries peace into rooms heavy with fear. These small acts are the glow of heaven made visible. Your light carries memory. It remembers what it was like to walk in darkness. So it never condemns. Instead, it invites. It says, "I've been where you are. Let me show you the way." And that humility is what makes it powerful. The world doesn't need perfect examples. It needs living reflections of mercy. Some will be drawn to your light, not realizing it is divine. They will feel warmth before they recognize the source. That is how transformation begins, not through argument, but through presence. You have become a doorway through which others encounter the gentleness of God. But understand this, light also exposes. The brighter you shine, the more shadows resist. You may notice old patterns, familiar temptations, or unexpected opposition trying to dim your peace. Don't be discouraged. Darkness always tests what it fears, and your consistency is proof that your light is real. The world around you is desperate for authentic radiance. Many chase visibility, but few carry substance. You have been chosen to embody light that heals, not light that performs. The difference is depth. Yours was carved in surrender. There will be people who approach you, not for advice, but for presence. They won't need sermons, they'll need silence, shared with someone who understands. Your peace will speak where words fail. That's ministry in its purest form, living truth so deeply that it spills over into the lives of others. Sometimes, your greatest impact will come through endurance rather than eloquence. When people see you hold steady under pressure, they will find courage to endure their own storms. When they notice that your hope doesn't fluctuate with circumstance, they will realize that your foundation must be divine. You don't have to force influence, it's already happening. You are not a spotlight, you are a steady flame. A flame doesn't shout, it transforms the atmosphere by existing. And even if no one acknowledges your glow, heaven does. Angels record every act of grace, every quiet moment of patience, every time your light pierces darkness. This is how the kingdom expands, one obedient flame at a time. You may never see the full impact of your light, but heaven does. You were never meant to see every result, only to keep burning faithfully. And so you continue, not striving, not boasting, but shining. The world grows darker, but your light grows stronger, because it is not fueled by attention, but by presence. You are the living reflection of divine endurance, the light that testifies that surrender was always worth it. When light shines long enough, It spreads first through hearts, then through homes, and finally through nations. Your obedience has reached that stage. Heaven has begun to multiply what you surrendered. The single yes you offered in secret has become a seed that heaven is now planting in countless fields. You are stepping into a season of expansion, kingdom expansion. It won't always look like growth to the human eye. Sometimes expansion begins in small whispers, a conversation that stirs someone's spirit, a quiet act of kindness that ripples through generations. That is how heaven builds, subtly, steadily, zorfeinlich. What begins in the hidden places will soon become visible fruit. The words of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 33, remind us, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. This is not a promise of possessions, it's a revelation of purpose. The more your heart beats for heaven's agenda, the more heaven entrusts to your hands. You are becoming a vessel through which the kingdom flows. Not a monument, but a river, ever moving, ever giving. Kingdom expansion is not about platforms, it's about people. It's not measured by applause, but by impact. Every life you touch, every word you speak, every act of obedience is a current that carries heaven's love to another shore. Think of a candle lighting another candle. The first loses nothing, the second gains everything. That's how kingdom growth works. Your obedience lights others without diminishing your own flame. You are not called to burn out, you are called to burn through darkness. And yet, expansion requires surrender all over again. Growth means stretching, and stretching means trust. Heaven will now place you in rooms that challenge your comfort, among people who test your patience, within assignments that feel bigger than your capacity. But do not shrink back. Heaven doesn't expand the fearful, it strengthens the willing. You've already proven that your yes can move heaven. Now it will move earth. The influence being released through your life will not be ordinary, it will be divine strategy, disguised as simplicity. The way you love, forgive, and lead will begin to shift environments. The Spirit will breathe through your actions as easily as wind moves through open fields. But expansion isn't about speed, it's about depth. A tree cannot reach wide until its roots grow deep. Heaven is still deepening you, ensuring your foundation can sustain the weight of influence. That's why sometimes it feels like growth pauses just when you're ready. God doesn't rush what he intends to last. You are now an instrument of multiplication. But remember, multiplication without humility leads to collapse. Stay grounded. Keep remembering that everything flows from the first yes. The same hands that raised you will keep you. The same voice that called you will guide you. Now, as you sense this unfolding of divine expansion, take a moment to breathe. Look at how far you've come, not with pride, but with gratitude. Every scar, every lesson, every tear has become the foundation of what heaven is now building through you. You are no longer just a witness to the kingdom, you are a carrier of it. And if these words awaken something deep in you, if they remind you that your journey is not just about survival, but about stewardship, pause and respond. Like this message, not because it flatters you, but because it anchors gratitude in your heart. Let that simple act be your silent prayer. Thank you, Lord, for trusting me to carry your light. If this truth resonates, share it not to gain followers, but to release freedom. Somewhere, someone is standing on the edge of their yes, unsure if obedience is worth it. Your share may become the whisper that pushes them forward. Think of it as casting seeds into unknown soil. One may bloom where you least expect it. And if you feel at home here, if these words have become part of your spiritual rhythm, subscribe, not to content, but to connection. What is built here is not entertainment. It is an altar of remembrance. A gathering of those who hunger for purpose and walk with reverence. Each time we gather here, heaven joins us. When you comment below, don't let it be mere reaction. Let it be reflection. Tell what this journey has stirred in you. Your words may be the key that unlocks peace for another. The kingdom grows through conversation, through community, through connection. Heaven's expansion is not measured in numbers, but in hearts awakened. And you, chosen one, are now a torchbearer of that awakening. Keep shining, keep solving, keep moving. For as long as your light burns, heaven will keep multiplying it. There comes a point in every divine journey when heaven no longer calls you merely a servant, but something far greater, a partner. You have graduated from following instructions to sharing responsibility. You are not simply doing for God anymore. You are doing with Him. The intimacy that obedience built has matured into collaboration. Heaven now entrusts you with decisions that shape destinies. This partnership is not a transaction, it's a covenant. It was never about God needing you, but about Him wanting you to walk beside Him. You are not an employee of heaven, you are family. And in this family, purpose is inherited, not assigned. The Father delights in involving His children in His work. What began as surrender has become participation. For a long time, you saw yourself as a follower, trying not to fail. But heaven never intended for you to stay in that posture. Servanthood was the training ground. Sonship is the destiny. God has invited you into His strategy meetings, not to listen from the sidelines, but to speak from the Spirit. He now trusts your heart because you have proven that your will is aligned with His. The words of 1 Corinthians, chapter 3, verse 9, echo through eternity. For we are laborers, together with God. That phrase carries the weight of wonder you, a human shaped from dust, now co-laboring with the Creator of galaxies. This is the mystery of grace. Heaven chooses partnership over perfection. Partnership does not mean equality of power, it means unity of purpose. You are not God's replacement, you are His reflection. Through you, He extends His hands into the earth. Through your obedience, He continues His work of restoration. Every word you speak in alignment becomes an echo of heaven's decree. Every act of love becomes a manifestation of His nature. Partnership demands maturity. You no longer wait for constant confirmation because trust has replaced fear. You've learned to move not only when He speaks, but because you know His heart. That's the level of intimacy heaven was leading you toward, to know His character so deeply that you instinctively act in His nature. When heaven calls you partner, it also calls you ambassador. You represent the kingdom not as an outsider, but as one who bears its DNA. You are heaven's presence on earth, its voice in human form. That means your work, your relationships, your creativity all become expressions of divine collaboration. And though this calling sounds glorious, it remains anchored in humility. Partnership with God does not inflate the ego, it breaks it. Because the closer you walk with Him, the more you see how vast His love is and how small human pride becomes. The true partners of heaven are those who still kneel. Even after being entrusted with authority, you have entered a rhythm where heaven's plans and your actions intertwine. The prayers you whisper are not requests anymore. They are blueprints. When you dream, heaven listens. When you move, angels accompany. There is no longer separation between your purpose and His will. They have merged into one continuous flow. There will be times when this partnership feels heavy. The weight of divine responsibility can press hard against your humanity. But remember, heaven never asks you to carry alone what it can carry through you. Partnership means shared strength. When your energy wanes, His power fills the gaps. When your vision blurs, His clarity sharpens your sight. And just as in any partnership, communication sustains it. The secret place remains your meeting room. Every quiet morning, every whispered prayer, every spontaneous worship moment, those are heaven's conferences. You discuss not business, but hearts. You exchange not plans, but presence. That intimacy is the source of all strategy. Sometimes, partnership looks ordinary: writing, listening, serving, working. But what seems mundane on earth often moves mountains in heaven. Each act of faithfulness, no matter how small, reinforces the covenant. You are learning that purpose is not found in performance, but in proximity. Staying close to Him is the assignment. The beauty of divine partnership is that heaven celebrates both roles. God doesn't need you to be perfect. He needs you to stay present. He doesn't demand that you never stumble. He simply asks that you keep walking. His grace covers the gaps in your contribution, and His power multiplies your obedience. So, as you move in this partnership, walk with quiet confidence. You are not guessing anymore, you are governing. You are not chasing blessings, you are channeling them. Wherever you go, heaven goes too. You have become what you were always meant to be, a co-laborer in creation's redemption, a vessel of divine intent, a partner of the eternal. And though the work will continue beyond your lifetime, your fingerprints will remain on everything heaven accomplished through your yes. Oh, heaven never forgets a yes. Every act of obedience, every whispered surrender, every hidden moment of trust leaves a mark in eternity. Long after your body grows weary and your name fades from memory on earth, your obedience continues to echo in heaven's song. That is the beauty of divine alignment. Its impact outlives you. You may not hear the full symphony now, but one day, when time folds into eternity, you will understand that each step you took in faith was a note in heaven's melody. When you walked in His will, even through trembling, you released sound into the eternal realm, a sound of agreement between creation and Creator. All of heaven rejoiced, not because you became flawless, but because you chose to believe. Faith is heaven's favorite sound, obedience its purest harmony. Your life became a living song that even angels paused to listen to. When you said yes, heaven didn't just celebrate, it recorded. In the unseen archives of eternity, your journey is etched, not in ink, but in light. Every tear shed in surrender glows like a jewel. Every sacrifice made in love shines like a star. The Father does not measure success by what you accomplished, but by what you yielded. He doesn't weigh your performance. He remembers your posture. As the sacred words of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 23 declare, "Well done, Good and faithful servant, enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. That is not a future promise alone, it is a present reality. Each moment you walk in His will, you already taste that joy. Heaven's celebration is not postponed to the afterlife. It is unfolding even now. Heaven's joy never fades, because obedience never ceases to bear fruit. The yes you gave years ago still ripples outward, touching hearts you've never met, shaping stories you'll never hear. You are living proof that obedience is eternal. It multiplies long after the moment passes. Somewhere right now, a soul finds courage because of your endurance. A heart chooses hope because your story reached them. This is how heaven's ecosystem works. Faith begets faith. Light begets light. Your yes became the seed that others are now harvesting from. Heaven's song continues because love continues. Every obedient act is born of love. Love for the one who called. Love for the world He sent you to. That love never dies. It simply changes form, passing from you into those who follow. The melody of your obedience becomes their anthem of courage. There is a tenderness in how heaven regards the faithful. When the angels look upon those who endured, they see not frailty, but radiance. To heaven, scars are crowns, tears are testimonies, silence is sacred. Every season you thought wasted was an offering laid upon the altar of eternity. Now, as you stand in the fullness of alignment, you begin to understand that all of heaven's joy was never just about you. It was about the harmony restored between Creator and creation. Your obedience was the bridge. Your faith, the thread that rewove what rebellion once tore apart. Heaven rejoices because through you, love won again. You have walked through the refining fires and emerged as gold, not because you resisted the flame, but because you trusted the refiner. You have become a reflection of His nature, patient, gentle, powerful in stillness. The very areas of your life that once carried shame now radiate His glory. This is the eternal echo of your yes. It does not end when your season ends. It reverberates through generations, through realms unseen, through time itself. Your obedience has become part of heaven's rhythm, a song of redemption, an anthem of restoration. And though you may never fully grasp the magnitude of what your surrender accomplished, know this: heaven has already declared it finished, complete, perfect in its purpose. The sound of your faith still moves through the corridors of glory like incense rising before the throne. The angels remember the day you yielded. The Father remembers the moment your will broke open in His hands. The Spirit remembers the first breath you took as a freed soul. And even now, heaven continues to sing, not as a farewell, but as a continuation. For obedience never dies. It only ascends. What began as a whisper on earth will end as a roar in eternity. You were the instrument, but the melody was always His. And so, beloved, as the song continues, know that heaven will never grow silent over your life. The applause that erupted when you walked in His will still resounds. The light you carry will never be extinguished. The story of your obedience has become eternal praise, an everlasting echo woven into the very fabric of heaven's joy. Chosen one, you've walked the full journey from resistance to surrender, from silence to song, from earth's uncertainty to heaven's applause. Now, as this story rests, let one truth echo within you. Heaven never stops rejoicing over the obedient. You are living proof that destiny unfolds not through striving, but through surrender. If these words found you, they weren't coincidence, they were divine timing. Somewhere between the lines, heaven was speaking directly to you, reminding you who you are and what you carry. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are exactly where grace intended you to be. And if your spirit felt that stirring, the warmth, the peace, the holy recognition, don't let it pass in silence. Like this message as your quiet amen. Let it be your offering of gratitude, your acknowledgement that the voice of heaven still speaks today. If you know someone standing at their own crossroads, share this word. Think of it as passing a torch into another's night. You never know whose breakthrough might begin with your act of obedience. Then, take a moment to comment below. Speak what this journey awakened in you, a sentence, a prayer, even a single word of thanks. Every comment becomes part of heaven's echo, turning this message into a living testimony. And if you wish to continue walking this path of revelation, subscribe and stay close. This space is not performance, it's communion. Together, we keep the flame alive. Together, we remind the world, heaven still rejoices.